Hello and welcome to the channel. My name is Annalisa and this is going to be my June TBR. I'm going to start by telling you about all the books that will fit in with the prompts for the Queer Lit Readathon, and then I'm going to tell you about some extra books that didn't fit into prompts but that I would still like to read. This readathon is being hosted by The Reading Wren and Kathy Tridart, and it goes from the 1st of June through the 30th. There are a few books I'm using for multiple prompts, and what books I use for what prompts may change throughout the month as I am a mood reader, but I do have a lot of books that I want to get to anyway, so there are some ways that I think they can slot in with the prompts, and that would make me happy if I could read these books that are on my TBR anyway. Also, I'm not going to be showing you a lot of the covers for these because a lot of them are ebooks or I haven't picked them up from the library yet, but I will be putting all of the titles down in the description along with time codes for when I talked about them so that it will be easy if you want to grab one for your own TBR to see what it was called. Unlike a lot of my videos, this one will not have content warnings for the books listed because I haven't read these ones yet. So the first prompt is outside, and I've picked May Day Flowers because so far a fair amount of that book has taken place outside. I'm actually currently reading it, but probably won't be finishing it before June. And one of the characters is a dryad, which is like a tree spirit. Then there's the group read, which my library does have, so I'm hoping to pick it up soon. That's actually, by the time you're seeing this, I almost undoubtedly will have already picked it up. I'm filming this ahead of time. It's called Wrong Answers Only, and it's also by an Australian author, so it's going to check off that prompt as well. Small Town Queers. For that one, I have picked Small Town Pride, which is a middle grade book. Several of the middle grade books for this TBR I actually found on Pagebound, which is a relatively recently, reading tracking website. I don't think it has an app, but it's kind of like Fable or Goodreads or Storygraph. They were doing a giveaway with Sonora Reyes, I think, for that author's new book. And so I went over and checked out Pagebound, and they have these quests where you can check off that you've read certain books and for their and get little badges, which is fun. And one of the quests is called middle grade LGBTQ+, and they have lots of middle grade books on there that I have not read before. They do not have on the list like all of the queer middle grade that exists, but quite a few I hadn't heard of, and so a few of those are on this list, and this is one of them. For question mark, I decided to make the prompt finally finish because there's a book that I need to finally finish called Awakening, and I've been trying to read it for a long time. It's indie published. Could have used a bit more editing to be a little less of a slog, but it's got good bones, so I'm continuing to try to read it, and it is a queer romance. For short and sweet, I decided to do My Love Mix-Up, which is a manga, so this also checks off the manga box, and I saw this one on one of the hosts' recommendation videos. Manga are pretty fast to read because a lot of the space is taken up by pictures, and the creator who recommended it said that it was also very sweet, so I'm counting it for that prompt. For plus size, also May Day Flowers, as one of the main characters is plus sized. I couldn't find anything for a 2025 release that I already wanted to read, so I'm skipping that one. For alliteration, I have Crimson Covenant. I know very little about this book, but I got it in a collection of spicy SFF by indie authors. I don't remember what the name of this prompt is, but it's to continue with an author or series you've only read one of, and I'm going to read Zami right here. It is by Audre Lorde, and I'm pretty sure I've only read one other book by Audre Lorde. For banned book, for that one I picked Her Body and Other Parties, which I'm also currently reading, but will likely not finish before June. And this one was, according to Marshall Libraries, reported by the author to have been denied to an incarcerated woman, denied access to this because of the sexually explicit materials. It is not even erotica, and even if it was, people should not be denied access to erotica when the person is obviously not a minor. For borrowed, I'm going to do It Came From the Closet, which I got from my library recently. It is a collection of queer essays by queer authors about horror and how queerness and the horror genre interact. I couldn't find anything good for 1990s that I already wanted to read, so for the letter O, I picked The Otherwoods, which is another one from that Page Bounds quest. For continued, Anna on the Edge, which will be continuing to read books by A.J. Sass, as I think I've read one of his books. Would like to continue because I really enjoyed the other book, and it's also from that Pagebound quest. And then other books that I want to read, some middle grade, is Camp Quiltbag, Every Bird a Prince, Both Can Be True, and then I think an adult book is The Prospects, which I've heard a lot about, and then It Was Vulgar and It Was Beautiful, which is another one I picked up recently from my library. It is about how AIDS activists used art to fight a pandemic by Jack Lowery. I'm back because after I filmed this, I found out that the Diverse Pride Readathon is happening again. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about that. It'll be linked below, and it is, I think, mostly happening on Instagram as far as like the hosting part, but a lot of it is about representation. So a lot of the prompts are like lesbian main character, black author, gay main character, indigenous author, Arab author, Asian author, intersex main character. And so those are ones that I also want to check off. And so I'm going to tell you a few of the books that I have available that might check off some of those prompts. I also plan to check off a lot of these prompts with the ones I've already mentioned, but I'm not necessarily sure which ones would be for which because I don't know yet, like which books, especially the middle grade books, I haven't researched very much. I don't know whether they're gay or bi, so I'll find out about that as I read them, and then I will slot them in. I might give some reading updates during the month that will kind of show where I am at with the bingo boards, but I will also be updating definitely with that on Instagram. So if you're interested in that, probably Blue Sky as well, actually. So if you're interested, you can follow me over there. So the books that I haven't mentioned yet that I might be slotting in are Sipping Dom Perignon Through a Straw. This is a biography. It's a memoir by a disabled black queer man. I don't know exactly what kind of queer, except that he has been attracted to men during the story so far. We then have When the Moon Was Ours, which is by Anna Marie McLemore, who is a Latina author. Darius the Great Is Not Okay by an Asian author. Wilder Girls has some kind of A-spec representation. I don't remember which kind. And Escaping Mr. Rochester is sapphic and is by a black author. Also, this will not always be here. It's brand new when I'm filming this, so I have it on display. But it's a very pretty... Why don't I just show you it? It's a hardcover, which I don't usually get hardcovers, but it is the extra special pretty version of Genocide Bad. I really like the contrast of the orange and the blue on the cover. It is also shiny, and it has a ribbon marker and sprayed edges. I hardly ever get books with sprayed edges. Whatever it's called, where it's under the dust jacket, is this really gorgeous blue with shiny orange foiling on the title and author name. And you know, it's by a non-binary author about collective liberation, so it kind of fits in with Pride Month as well. It also addresses the pinkwashing that Israel does. It's from a Palestinian publisher who got most of the money from this, but they also donated 10%, which ended up being like $5,000, if I remember correctly, to the Middle Eastern Children's Alliance. I might leave the small version, this is a little card that I got from the publisher, up for longer because this one kind of blocks my pink shelf. I would really like it if the starvation was stopped and there was food in Gaza by the time this video comes out, but I kind of doubt it. Resources below as usual. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.